Hi, this is Ridea Keeping It Real, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. We are reading through the book of Daniel today. Today is Saturday, July 5th, 2025. And we're on Daniel chapter 7, gotten pretty far, and we're just going to get started. So we're reading through the book of Daniel in the Good News Bible, and we're going to start out with reading what Haley's Bible Handbook says about Daniel chapter 7. And this is the vision about the four beasts, so this can get a little bit deep. It may go a little bit longer, obviously, because of that. So here we go. Daniel chapter 7, the four beasts. This is a continuation of the prophecy of chapter 2. Really? Okay, well, chapter 2. Chapter 2. The dream. Oh, we have the dream about the statue. Right? Okay, wait a minute. Daniel chapter 2. Yes, yes, yes. So remember Daniel chapter 2, where the king invited all the people to say, hey, what was my dream and what did it mean? And only Daniel could interpret the dream. And the dream was about the statue, made of the different metals, and then the rock, the stone hitting the metals and it crumbling. And then this, the Most High God's kingdom lasts forever. So this is a continuation. So Daniel chapter 7 is a continuation of Daniel chapter 2's dream. How's that working? So this is a continuation of the prophecy of chapter 2, which was uttered 60 years earlier. Two aspects of one grand scheme of history. Four world empires, and then the kingdom of God. In chapter 2, these are represented by the images of the head of gold, breast of silver, thigh of brass, feet of iron, broken into pieces by a stone. That picture. We might have to refer back to that. I mean, because some of this stuff is like you read it, you remember it, but then it's like, okay, let me try to remember what I read. So, broken into pieces by stone. In this chapter, these four world empires were represented as a lion, a bear, a leopard, and a terrible beast. The four world empires are commonly taken to be Babylon, Persia, Greece, and Rome. See under chapter 2, representing the period from Daniel to Christ. These beasts seem to form the basis of the imagery of the seven-headed, ten-horned beast, Revelation 13. This is what this is to me right now. This is beyond reading. This is a study right here. Right? Okay, the 10 horns of the four beasts, this says verse 24, are taken to be the 10 kingdoms into which the Roman Empire was resolved. Ooh. The other horn, those verses, which should rise amongst the 10 horns, is quite commonly taken to be the papacy, the Pope, the church, a combination of the leopard, the beast, the lamb beast of Revelation 13. The three kings which he displaced, 824, we might have to refer back to this when we're reading this, are thought to refer to Lombards, Ravenna, and Rome, which were handed over to the popes as the beginning of their temporal kingdom, 754 AD. On this interpretation, we have a bird's eye view of world history. Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome, Papal Rome. Rome was followed by 10 kingdoms, a round number, we think denoting control of the world by a number of nations. A sort of tenfold continuation of the Roman Empire till the end, which is right now, we think. Everybody's always thought they've lived in the end times, but so we're no different in thinking that. There never has been a world empire since. Napoleon tried it. He failed. The Kaiser tried it. He failed. So did Hitler, but in vain. And maybe that's what Trump is doing too. Trying to have a world empire like that. Time periods of the Daniel book. Oh, the book of Daniel. Okay, now this is getting deep. We gotta read it. A time times and a half. 725. Denotes the duration of the other horn of the four beasts. So this may be a book that I probably should read the King James version to probably make sense of it. Because let's say I rate 725. Let's see what it says. It's not gonna say a time times and a half. It's gonna say something else. 725 says he will speak against the supreme God and oppose God's people. He will try to change their religious laws and festivals, and God's people will be under his power for 3.5 years. That didn't make any sense for me. Okay. Denotes the duration of the other horn. Well, maybe it just told me in this book it was 3.5 years. A time times and a half. Other horn of the fourth beast. A time times and a half denotes the period from Daniel to the time of the end. Whoa. A time times and a half is used in Revelation 12:14 as identical. Wait a minute. Revelation 12:14. 12:14. She was given the 2 wings of a large eagle in order to fly to her place in the desert, where she will be taken care of for 3.5 years. Is it really 3.5 years? Somebody really come up with 3.5 years as the time? What does that mean? Okay. It is used in Revelations 12:14 as an identical within 42 months and 1,260 days. Revelation 11:2 and 3, 12, 6 and 14, 13 and 5. Which expressions denote the period the holy city was trodden down, and 2 witnesses prophesied. The woman was in the wilderness, and the revived beast was on the throne. 2,300 evenings and mornings, 8:14. The time the sanctuary was trodden underfoot. This is like a whole study right here. This is a study. So it's not going to mean anything to us unless we study it. So this is one of those things where you have to read this first sentence, go to this paragraph, and let me go to it in the King James version. Let me just see. But I'm not going to do that now. I'm not going to do the study now, but it needs to be done. Daniel 7:25. Daniel 7:25. Daniel 7:25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. and shall be given into his hand until a time and the times and the dividing of times. Right. Okay. I mean, so for some of this, you might, yeah, certainly. If your thing is reading the King James, read the King James. I'm just trying to make sure I understand what's happening in the story. But this right here, this just all of this reading right here is not for me to read right now, but you know, for the study, because obviously this is God's time or God's viewing time. So this is about the four beasts. Let's get started reading it. So Daniel describes his visions. Daniel's vision of the four beasts. In the year of Belshazzar. So we're going back. So we're going back now, right? Daniel, Persia's not in control. It's still Belshazzar. In the first year of Belshazzar was king of Babylon. I had a dream. This is going back. I don't know why this is not in order, but okay. I had a dream and saw a vision in the night. I wrote the dream down, and this is the record of what I saw that night. And I encourage you too, when you have your dreams, write them down. Like I have a dream journal that dates back 10 years probably for those dreams that I remember. Because you'll find that sometimes, especially if you are gifted to have dreams that are prophetic like that, maybe they don't happen right away, but they happen in time. Like this is doing us here, kind of going back in time. I wrote the dream down, and this is the record of what I saw that night. This is his dream. Okay. Winds were blowing from all directions and lashing the surface of the ocean. Four huge beasts came up out of the ocean, each one different from the other. The first one looked like a lion, but had wings. You know what? How many times, like I can look at my hand right now, but when I look at my hand under this light and this amplifier, wow. Look at the age of my hands. How my hands have aged and wrinkled. Look wrinkled. That's something right there. Wow. Okay, sorry guys. Or whoever ends up watching this, grandkids or winds. Wait, hold on. Let me go. Back here. Okay, the four beasts. The first one looked like a lion, but had wings like an eagle. While I was watching, the wings were torn off. The beast was lifted up and made to stand like a man, and then a human mind was given to it. Okay? That's the first beast. So the first beast looked like a lion. First one looked like a lion, but had wings like an eagle. Lion with wings like an eagle. The second beast looked like a bear. So the second beast looked like a bear, standing on its hind legs. It was holding 3 ribs between its teeth. And a voice said to it, "Go on, eat as much meat as you can." While I was watching, another beast appeared. It looked like a leopard. So this is the third beast. But on its back, there were 4 wings. Leopard with wings. Like a bird. And it had 4 heads. And it had a look of authority to it. As I was watching the fourth beast appear, it was powerful, horrible, terrifying. With its huge iron teeth, it crushed its victims and then it trampled on them. Unlike the other beast, it had 10 horns. It didn't say what the beast was, though. 10 horns. While I was staring at the horns, I saw a little horn coming up amongst the others. It tore out 3 of the horns that were already there. This horn had human eyes and a mouth that was boastful, boasting proudly. The vision of the one who has been living forever. While I was looking, thrones were put in place. One who had been living forever sat down on one of the thrones. Ooh. His clothes were white as snow. His hair was like pure wool. His throne mounted on fiery wheels with blazing with fire. And a stream of fire was pouring out from it. There were many thousands of people there to serve him, and millions of people stood before him. The court began its season, and the books were open. While I was looking, I could stand still. While I was looking, I could still hear the little horn bragging and boasting. Okay. As I watched, the fourth beast was killed. What beast was that? The fourth beast. That's the one with all the horns. And its body was thrown into the flames and destroyed. I don't think I've ever heard the story like this. Was destroyed. The other beast had their power taken away, but they were permitted to go on living for a limited time. During this vision in the night, I saw what looked like a human being. He was approaching me, surrounded by clouds, and he went to the one who had been living forever and was presented to him. He was given authority, honor, and royal power, so that the people of all nations, races, and languages, we've seen that before, the people of all nations, races, and languages would serve him. His authority would last forever, and his kingdom would never end. There's a lot of references here. And a lot of those same references we saw in Bible Handbook, the Haley Bible Handbook. The visions are explained. The visions I saw alarmed me, and I was deeply disturbed. I went up to one of those standing there and asked him to explain it all. So he told me the meaning. He said, "These four huge beasts are four empires which will arise on earth, and the people of the supreme God will receive royal power and keep it forever and ever." And the people of the supreme God will receive royal power. Listen at that. Listen at that. The people of the supreme God will receive royal power and keep it forever and ever. He wants to be amongst those people. Then I wanted to know more about the fourth beast, which was not like any of the others. The terrifying beast, which crushed its victims with his bronze claws and iron teeth and then trampled on them. And I wanted to know about the 10 horns on its head and the horn that had come up afterwards and had made 3 of the horns fall. It had eyes and a mouth and was boasting proudly. It was more terrifying than any of the others. When I was looking, that horn made war on God's people and conquered them. Then the one who had been living forever came and pronounced judgment in favor of the people of the supreme God. The time had arrived for God's people to receive royal power. Okay? And every time I walk in the sun now, I walk around 12 to 1 every day. When I'm, sit on this one bench and the sun's beaming down on me, I'm thinking about, it's almost like that, feeling like power is being infused in every cell of my body. This is the explanation I was given. The fourth beast is the fourth empire that will be on the earth and will be different from all the other empires. It will crush the whole earth and trample it down. The 10 horns are 10 kings who will rule that empire. Then another king will appear. He will be very different from the earlier ones and will overthrow 3 kings. He will speak against the supreme God and oppress God's people. He will try to change their religious laws and festivals. Which we know this has already happened. Because now we don't have, you see your calendars, and the calendars today don't have, you have, the amount of of oh, the amount that you have to do to figure out from today's Gregorian calendar how to celebrate feasts is insane. And I've been working on it for a minute. Where are we? We're here on the 5th. We're on the 5th of July. Go this out a little bit. The 5th of July. And that is what I think. Is that 3 weeks is coming up, where you mourn the holy temple's destruction. It's Lamentations, you fast and pray. From 7:13 to 8:3. And then there are blessing gates and curse gates. I think this 18th coming up is the second of this biblical year. Second blessing gate, where you launch a business or a gathering, is good. The Feast of New Oil, Feast of New Wines. And every time I wrote something down, it was like, well, I heard something different, or I read something different, or I researched something different. And then August, the 5th month of the biblical year, those 3 weeks in. The 5th of Av, the happiest day of the year. Third gate is the trial gate, the wood offering on the 15th, which is my birthday. So then, when you get into the fall, that's when things start to pick up as far as the festivals that we're supposed to celebrate. So every month I try to research a little bit more to see where we are. And everybody has something different, and it's all confusing. So, therefore, when it says this right here, he will try to change the religious laws and festivals. I get that. Because it's changed so much, it's hard to figure out what you're supposed to be doing when. Right? And so you really do have to ask the Holy Spirit and see what she has to, how she can help you kind of decipher what's the truth and what's not the truth. That's all we got to work with now. So he will try to change the religious laws and festivals, and God's people will be under his power for 3.5 years. This is God's time. Then the holy court will sit in judgment, take away his power, and destroy him completely, whoever he is. The power and greatness of all kingdoms on earth will be given to the people of the supreme God. The royal power will never end, and all rulers on earth will serve and obey him. This is the end of the account. I was so frightened that I turned pale, and I kept everything to myself. Okay. That's chapter 7. I might try to go on to chapter 8 and read chapter 8, because it looks like I've read chapter 9, 10, 11, and 12 at another time for another reason. Right? So I've already read that. And I think I also read Joel too. I read Joel when January 10th, when we were doing the manifestations. I read Joel. So I'm going to go ahead and read chapter 8. So we get to chapter 8, and then, get you a Good News Bible. It's hard to find this. I bought it for my granddaughter, and it didn't have the Apocrypha in it, but you can get the Good News Bible if you just want something to read and color and reflect on. But I'm going to go ahead and read chapter 8, and then we'll be finished with Daniel. So, chapter 8. The Ram and the He-Goat. This chapter contains future predictions about the second and the third world empires, spoken of in chapter 2 and 7. That is the Persian and the Greek empires. The Persian Empire represented in 7:5 as a devouring bear, is here represented as a two-horned ram. It is being a coalition of the Medes and the Persians. The Greek Empire, pictured in 7-6 as a four-headed leopard, is here portrayed as a swift he-goat, bounding furiously from the west, having one great horn, which, when broken, was repaired by four horns. The great horn was Alexander the Great, who broke the Persian Empire, 331 BC. This prophecy was written in 538 BC, 200 years before its fulfillment. It is the most remarkable prediction of a clash and the outcome between two world empires, neither of which had, at the time the prediction, yet arisen. Four horns and four heads were four kingdoms in which Alexander's empire was divided. See chapter 11. The little horn, which arose out of the four, is generally agreed to mean Atticus Epiphanes of the Syrian branch of the Greek Empire, who made a determined effort to stamp out the Jewish religion. See under 11:21-35. Yet the repeated phrase "time of the end" may mean that along with the near view of Antiochus, there may have been in the distant background of the vision of the ominous outline of the far more terrible destroyer to mar the closing days of history, of whom Antiochus was a symbolic forerunner. I did not understand any of that. So let's see if this makes more sense. Daniel's vision of a ram and a goat. The third year of Belshazzar. You know what this is telling me? I'm tired. I'm tired right now. And I feel like I'm rushing through this, and I don't feel like I can rush through it. I don't feel like I should rush through it. I don't feel like I need to rush through it. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to color this. I'm going to color this instead. I think this is, and I've been trying to get through coloring the pictures in the book, because sometimes I'll just read things and I don't color it. Like there's a lot of pictures that I have colored, a lot of pictures that I need to color, but right now I'm just going to color this. So chapter 7 was about the vision of the empire. And at the end of the day, it kind of told us that God is going to take his people and put his people in charge. And God's going to be in charge forever and ever. And all these empires that are going to come and go are going to serve God's people. That's what I got out of that. I don't know what you guys got out of that, but that's what I got out of it. At the end of the day, all of these people who think they're so important, they are at the time. Everybody thinks they're important at the time. And I think when I think about stuff like that, I think about I used to live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I used to work for the police department there. And I remember a lot of the captains and sergeants and majors and used to, they knew the mayor. The mayor was a black man. I forgot his name, but you'll know who I'm talking about in a few minutes. And it would be like, kind of like proud that they were on first name terms with the mayor. And they were all that. And I still do this. I sit back and I look at people who think that other people are so much just because they have a title or a position, and the people think they're so much because they have that. I just sit back and I look at them like, are you kidding me? This is something that they could lose tomorrow. But anyways, the mayor ended up going to jail because of a bribery, got set up, and he ended up going to jail. And all those people were like, I'm looking at him like, damn, what was that? Nothing. You know him now? You still familiar with him now? You still want to, say you know him? One of his, friends? Were you involved? All of that. So I'm probably going to stop here. I might come back and read chapter 8. But right now, this was Daniel chapter 9. Him describing his vision of the four beasts. And we understanding that was a continuation of the other dream that he had. So until next time, this is Ridea, keeping it real.